And a very good morning, everybody. And a very warm welcome to Angels in the House. As we are looking forward to hear more insights of from the angels today. Oh, right before that, we would like to wish you a happy Wesak Day to everyone who is celebrating. So while we are waiting for more friends to be joining us, we are live right now on Facebook as well. So we would like to welcome everyone who has just joined us on Zoom. Indeed, today will be an exciting session because we have our profound angels all the way from Singapore and of course from Malaysia. They're no strangers in the investment arena, and let alone they have multiple and vast experiences under their belt. So hence today they will be sharing their tips and of course their insights, their knowledge on how to ensure that you will not be having any pitfalls and mistakes. But right before that, we would like to have everyone to be welcoming everyone. So could you just welcome yourself, your name, and where you are from, as we are having more friends joining us. So could you just comment in the chat box and to introduce yourself and where you are from. We definitely have some familiar names who have been consecutively joining us for a lot of our shows. So yes, very good morning, Sean, Daniel, Yong from Penang, KP from KL, Wong from Renlap. Okay, looks like we have a lot of kakilang here. So those friends who just joined us, we would like to welcome you as angels in the house. So without further ado, because today we have a full pack itinerary right ahead of us. So let me just dive in straight. What do we have? So once again, as a very warm welcome. Please continue introducing yourself and where you're from or your company in the comment box. So very good morning, everybody, and I hope that you are still staying safe and sane from wherever you are. So the whole idea is why we are here today is because we understand capital raising it's a very long, tiring process. Myself as an entrepreneur, I have also gone through this experience. It can be very tormenting, it can be very daunting, and of course it can even affect our businesses, which sometimes which is what we should be focusing on. So those who have experiences in fundraising, you know that this exercise is definitely a full-time job, which consumes a lot of time and also a lot of money and effort. But however, with the right tool, with the right knowledge and mentorship, one able to mitigate the risks and pitfalls of fundraising challenges, which could save you a lot of time and also hard knocks, ensuring that you will be able to raise a viable amount, to continue managing your business. So with that, I would like to introduce our angels. But right before I will get them on board, I would like to quickly now introduce our establishment and why we are here today. To all those friends who just joined us, a very warm welcome. Angels in the house, and pitch your ideas and raise capital. Today's highlight will definitely be a very interesting one that where we will have 5 to 6 businesses to be pitching the idea. So let me just dive in straight ladies and gents. So presenting you as Invest AQ. So there's a bit of a background of Engineers House Group. It was established since 2004. We have been providing financial services, entrepreneurs, business owners, individuals, and families. Well, basically, we assist entrepreneurs to develop the strategic solutions to basically face the real challenges in the real world through asset and wealth management. We also empower entrepreneurs to adopt the right corporate strategy, and so ensuring that we're able to give a maximum value creation to our stakeholders. Now, our new verticals establishment that we will be introducing, it's none other than Invest AQ. It's where finance investment meets technology, a marketplace that where we connect professional investors and high net worth individuals to investing in emerging high growth companies, primarily from Series A onwards. Now, this is a platform for companies to able to promote raising up capital for the business through listing, events, virtual and physical, like what we are doing right now, and of course, like some media production, creating like greater marketing visibility. We support investors and companies through an improved process efficiencies through an AI-driven software. Now, speaking, of what are the problems and why we're here today is because we identified the three key problems in capital raising. Firstly, it's the whole entire ecosystem has been broken, into many parts. Very fragmented ecosystem, limited integration of software, which brings us no efficiency, and of course, as an entrepreneur, too often will result in a loss of time and money. It's a very heavy manual process. As entrepreneurs, we understand that. Also to the investors as well. So discovery of good investors and deals are endlessly. Hence, is leading to very strong frustrations to both parties. As you know, that most of the platforms out there have been charging between 6 to 8% just over a simple introduction. Now, so for the amount of money that we have raised, and this upfront money is being deducted from our business as entrepreneur, does this really make sense to us? So introducing you, what are the solutions that Invest AQ will be introducing you? An AI-driven software. Now it benefits three parties. First is for the companies, it improves efficiency to be connecting with the right strategic advisors based on investment and risk appetite matching. This will allow you to save a lot of time and also to raise capital. For investors, you will allow the investors to be saving the time and giving a yes or a yes answer faster, for an investment decision, rather than procrastination, or rather than not having the right answer from them. As well as for the industry, we will be streamlining the processes. We were able to increase capacity and of course improve deal intelligence through data capture and predictive analysis. So basically, this entire AI-driven software will able to do a matching according to your needs, investment appetite, risk appetite from the investor. So this is how our services that we provide, the entire ecosystem approach. Before I continue, could I have Sean Tan to be muting yourself? So at least then everybody will get an undivided attention. Thank you very much, Sean, for your cooperation. So this is the ecosystem approach strategies that we will be adopting. So on your left, you'll be seeing that it will be using the technology and very strongly on software driven. On the platform listing, we'll be providing a platform listing that where you are able to list your business and services on our platform for a nominal subscription fee. We also will be providing a secondary deals that where we will be working with investment boutiques, investment houses to ensure that there will be greater deals to be captured. We will be also assisting the entrepreneur and businesses for investor relationship. And of course, we believe that subscription based deal making is the way to go, is the future. So hence, you will be assisted with a software subscription to allow for your fundraising process to be expedited. On your right, that you are seeing that where we will be also conducting events, marketing events, where we bring you virtual and live events, education portal. That's where we also encourage entrepreneurs who have any educational program to be listings on our portal here to ensure there will be always a community's continuity education learning. There will be also marketing assistance such as like media production, interview videos, interviews, blogs, and last but not least is branding and marketing collateral. To date, our ecosystem positionings, our market is going to have been around across the regions. We're from to Singapore, Australia, and London, and we believe as the year goes by, we'll be expanding more region. So this is one of the accessibilities that you are able to tap on from our platform itself. So here we are, still a very lean team. Myself as and William, I believe no strangers, most of you guys know. So William and myself will be spearheading this platform itself. So I will be flashing this once again, guys. But if you are on it right now, just do take your phone and take a snapshot on this QR code. If you are using, not quite sure how iPhone works, but if it's you are using Android, then you are just able to go scan as a QR code, and it will lead you straight to our WhatsApp group. And this WhatsApp group is you will be continuing having to be empowered, with events, happenings, and news. So hence, you will be able to be updated, from time to time. Also, of course, if you haven't joined our Facebook group, do join our Facebook group. So at least then you were able to get latest updates. I'll be flashing this once again towards the end of this session. So yes, we believe that we are like islands in the sea, separate on the surface but connected in depth. So with that, ladies and gents, for those who just joined us, thank you for your time. And let's get the ball rolling right now. For those friends who just joined us, a very warm welcome, Angels in the house. And today's highlights that we will be hearing 5 to 6 businesses who will be pitching their business ideas. So let's get excited. Sit back, relax yourself at the comfort of your house, and let's get the morning started. So with that, ladies and gents, I would now like to introduce our angels in the house. So can we have Rina Neoh and Stanley Chong to be introducing themselves? Over to you, Rina.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on a public holiday. Thank you, William and Arthur, for making us work on a public holiday. Mm-hmm. I'm an entrepreneur by heart and also an angel investor. I run a VC firm called Ficus. Have been investing since 2006. My current portfolio, if you wish to check it out, is on RXL Cap. I have active, personally invested about since 2019 up to now, about 17 active portfolios. So happy to meet everyone, especially those from Penang. I see some of my friends supporting me. Actually, they are giving me more pressure. I look forward to hearing the pitch from the 5 entrepreneurs. Whether we invest or not, I hope they get some valuable feedback from Stanley and myself, or even from the audience. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you very much for investing your time. And as you said that despite public holiday that you are spending the morning with us. Over to you, Stanley.
Good morning, everyone. I'm basically a partner in Engineers House as well. Before that, my background basically is in the IT industry. I think close to 30 years now. I've been, working in local companies, in MNCs, and for the past about 5 to 8 years, been focusing mainly on mentoring, business coaching for startup as well as those grow up stage companies, all the way to IPO stage. So I also have my own experience in a startup many years ago. Been through all the ups and downs, all the .com burst, economic crisis and all those. Now we are at another one, the COVID-19. So for those that have not been experiencing this sort of economic crisis, it will be a good lesson learned. So hopefully we will get through this together. I also been personally invested in a few companies as well. So those are good experience as well, learning, lesson learned that helped me to also prepare me to in my work with all this business coaching as well. So hopefully later on we can share some thoughts, some lesson learned with some of those startups they're going to pitch in this session today. Thanks.
There you go, guys. So those are the wisdoms of our angels. Indeed, is that they have gone through a few crises. They may look young, but very, very knowledgeable, through in-depth and breadth at the same time. So with that, ladies and gents, let me just set the tone of today, the tone and the context of today's session. That we will be doing a Q&A forum session for a good 20 to half an hour. And it will be followed by a pitching session where we'll be introducing 5 businesses to be pitching, and followed by the feedbacks from our angels in the house. And last but not least, before we wrap up the session, we will end the session with a Q&A, from the participants, or you do have any questions, then by end of the session, please do unmute yourself. So with that, let's get the ball rolling, our forum. So now we have heard what our angels have said. So the questions that I have actually designed are also on my interest, and of course, my wanting to know, to learn from these angels. Now, so Rina and also Stanley, let's really face the reality over here. Our startup landscape and mentality in this region has really been highly influenced or molded. I would rather say by the fanatisms, Silicon Valley. Now we have been constantly, being bombarded, after the fiascos, of WeWork IPO valuation last year. A lot of all these startups, have started probably ponders, that Silicon Valley should try out new mantras, which is like profitability, to really start making profit. So with more stringent processes, of investment, investors probably will get more wary, lesser seed stage companies to be succeeding, in fundraising. So what have changed is in our landscape today, and so we have been talking about new norm, right? So there's also a new norms in raising money. So my questions are, what has changed in our current landscape, our local landscape, and how do seed stage companies able to overcome this?
Stanley, you want to take first, or
Go ahead, lady first.
Okay. Well, I think most of us are trying to, people like in the ecosystem, whether they are startups or venture builders, we always have Silicon Valley as the benchmark. I think when it comes to investing, one very important pillar that I always look at is actually culture. There are many angel investors, and they're very, I would say, mature ecosystem in Silicon Valley. Asia is still catching up. I think Stanley would agree that there are not many Asian angel investors, although we have pockets of angel investors group around here. But whether they do actively invest, or they invest one startup a year, or they invest in equity crowdfunding and call themselves angel investors, I think there are two separate profile of people, and the founders really need to know. Back to your question, how does it change the current ecosystem? I think there are many venture capitals finding it hard to raise money from LPs as well. So it's a whole domino effect, right? All the LPs, all the big tycoons, they are also facing, cash strap. So as VCs, we find it hard to raise capital. And if we don't raise capital, there's no way VCs can invest in startups. When we talk about Malaysia, with the current political situation, and also funding from the government agencies being cut down, I think it's going to be really difficult. But that also presents an opportunity for the startups. For me, I do see that now with the conditions so stringent and so tight, perhaps the startups that are really good and really have the grit and tenacity will appear. So in a case, there's always a winner and loser. So when the conditions are tough, then perhaps we will get to see startups or founders that has more grit. Compared to when everything is rosy, grants are available, and angel investors are strapped with, flush with cash when stock markets is doing well. Now, I think everybody has to sort of relook at their investment mandate. So I am looking at whether should I put money in new startups, or should I be looking at supporting the existing portfolios that I have, because I think it makes sense for me to keep on supporting those that need more help, because I have actually worked with them, versus putting money into a new startup. So I have to also balance my risk. I think most seed companies, when they raise money, it's not just not enough money out there. There's actually plenty of money out there, but why they keep on raising and there's not enough? One observation is because they actually spend more than what they have. Some of the companies, they basically spend future money, because for those of you who have not raised VC funds or even angels, when we say we invest $1 million, we don't typically transfer $1 million into your bank account. That would be quite naive to think that. We usually will give you a milestone, and basically just disperse the cash based on whether the team achieved the milestones or not. So that's my personal take on why, what's going to happen next. Angel investors will be actually putting money to save our own personal portfolio. So chances of you raising may not be so high in the next future. But it doesn't mean that you have no chance at all. You just have to be more creative in raising funds. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
gotta
it's
agree with
up
you,
to you.
Rina. I gotta agree with you. But like seed stage companies are at a very young infant stage, right? They oftentimes definitely need to raise up money. And a lot of them have this mentality that where, oh, I'm running a startup, and I'm so used of spending more money than making revenue. So with that take, Stanley, what do you think is of the mentality that really needs to change, especially at the seed stage companies? And really, how do they really going to overcome this, especially when technology is concerned? More money, funding it plays a very vital role.
Yeah, I think I'd like to set the stage first, right? The fundamentals for the whole life cycle is basically on the high level, you have what we call the seed stage, then you have the startup stage, then you have the market validation stage, growth stage, and then the scale up, regional expansion, IPO, so on and so forth. So just to, a bit of advice to all those entrepreneurs that is, in this entrepreneur journey, starting the business, you need to at least aware of, the fundamental difference when raising money within all these stages. All of them are different, right? So today we are talking about angel seed funding. So I'll just focus on the early stage fundraising. So in reality, for early stage like seed, pre-seed, startup, or even market validation stage, normally, I would say easily 90% of the VCs out there will not invest in this company at this stage, right? So because you're very early. So the venue basically is, the 3F, the friends, families, and also your fans, or they call it the fools. And also you can go for like angels is one of them. Even now in Malaysia, we have ECF, equity crowdfunding, which sometime now they're also going towards the early stage now. Yeah, when they started, they are very much on the market validation and grow up. But now, they start to move towards the early stage as well. So basically, this is the current environment, right, that you can raise the fund. So in terms of the mentalities, I think later on we'll talk a bit more. But for me personally, I always look at, the fundamental from, because early stage, you don't have track records, you don't have tractions, it's very hard for them to evaluate, right? So me personally, my experience is I look at, for example, the first thing is the mindset of the whole founders team itself, right? They need to be in the right mindset, right? Be able to plan, be able to execute, be able to look at the big pictures. And then the founders team itself, right? Which is very important.
Just very short and punchy. So what are the three most important metrics that the both of you look for? You see, like, gone are the days that we talk about unicorns. Anyway, unicorns never existed so in this world, right? So now, venture capitalists, angels are talking about rhinoceros, big fat profit margin, EBITDA, and yet as I still staying very humble, in the business. No more, what they call bells and whistles, and all the hype. And getting media coverage and creating all this buzz, on the noise. So really, like a lot of times, we often time as a startup founder, we are trained as to create all this buzz out there. So hence, as the more people know, and then after that, potentially there will be more investors will be coming aboard. So yes, put all this as a bit bells and whistles away. So what are the three most important metrics that right now you are looking for?
For me, I think I would always look at the 3 Ps: the person, the product, and the pricing. For a person, especially like, Stanley said, is just an idea, it's just a pitch deck. What actually makes me sort of want to actually look at the pitch deck is really the person and the team behind it. If the team are too overwhelming, I may not be want to invest, because I have come across some pitch deck with lots of datos and tycoons, as angel investors. So when it comes to me, it's just too overwhelming for me. And on the product, I think it should be an interesting IP. It should be something unique. I personally like product or services that has social impact. So if the founders look at my portfolio, they should be able to see a trend. I do like to invest in ed tech and healthcare tech, not so into e-commerce, fashions, where everybody can create an e-commerce store just right now. Of course, as angel investors, we invest. If I'm a financial angel investor, I certainly look at what is the next upside for me. Will this company be able to attract future money? If it is too difficult, then as angel investors, I probably wouldn't want to touch it. Like, for example, deep tech. Deep tech requires a lot of money, and if you're saying that you are in drug discovery, you do not know how difficult it is to actually discover a drug. So it might, I might not be able to get back my return even if I'm 60 years old. So I'm not going to bet on that. But for angel investors, I think there is no one template or one profile fits all. Stanley and I have different likings. We have, even if we look at the same thing, person, product, pricing, we have different definition. Stanley might like someone who is perhaps outgoing. I might like someone who is very aloof. So it's very different. So as founders, I think you really need to be resourceful. You really need to track us down. It's not we have the choice to invest in you. You have the choice to pick who you want to be on the same journey as you. Just like how you pick your boyfriend and girlfriend, you have a choice. So I would encourage all the startup founders to actually really do their homework before they talk to us. That's very basic. So know who you're talking to, what are their appetites, what are their investment mandates or their portfolio mandate. I think that's very important.
So there you go, Rina. For those friends who just joined us, the 50 of yours and also the 20 of yours on Facebook Live, very warm welcome. And what Rina said, the 3 Ps is the people, product, and pricing as well. So these are the 3 Ps that what she's looking for. The 3 key important metrics that she's looking for, in a particular startup. Now, I see some questions are coming in from Bernard, and also we have from Shaji. We do reserve your questions, and we'll have these questions to be answered towards the end of the session. But yes, thank you so much for your question. Keep having those questions flowing in. Stanley, what about yourself?
Yeah, so continue from what I mentioned just now. The first thing I'm looking for is basically the mindset of the founders team itself. And then secondly, because it's early stage, as I said, there's no track record, there's no tractions and so on and so forth. So the next one is basically the founders team itself. How balanced is it? Because my experience is most of them, if you only have one founders, for example, is very tough, right? It might be okay in the beginning, but later on, when you start growing, it's very tough for you're only one man show. You definitely need at least 3 to 4 solid founders team to help you to also manage the overall business growth, because it's not only sales or only technical things, right? It's so many things for you to handle. And then the third one basically is a very proper and detailed business plan. I think my experience is easily 95% of those founders that I've spoken to, they are most of them, they're very good at the pitch deck. For example, they have a very fancy, very attractive pitch deck. But the second round, when you start to sit down and talk to them in more details, you can't really see any solid, details or solid information. How are they going to execute? how are they going to reach those milestones that, they have a 9 forecast in their pitch deck, they're going to grow 500%, 1,000% for the next 2 years. But when you talk to them and look at details, how you're going to achieve that, actually, you don't see any substance. I think that is one of the big challenges. A lot of the young entrepreneur, young startup, they are so caught up with, coming up with the fancy pitch deck, good forecast and all those, but they don't spend enough time to sit down and go through the actual details, the substance, how you're actually going to achieve all those forecasts that you have mentioned.
So Stanley, for you, it's the mindset, how balanced is the founding team, and the last one?
It's a business plan itself with substance and thought through, for the next 2 to 3 years, how are they going to, go to markets, what's their go-to-market strategy, for example, how are they going to achieve all these tractions, the unit of economic, whether it makes sense or not. They need to have that all, see?
Yeah, most of the time they don't have a backup Excel spreadsheet, how they derive the numbers. So that's the one thing that tells me that there's no depth in what they're trying to pluck from the sky. I mean, we have seen a lot of pitch decks, and don't tell me or don't tell Stanley that this is $1 trillion market. We all know about that. That's like a waste of time. And then don't start your pitch deck because you only have 5 minutes. The first slide is the name of your company, how to go to your office, and those are really not useful decks. So just go straight to the point and tell a story. If you're not able to gel all this and tell a story, then you won't catch our attention. Regardless of how beautiful the fonts is, what image you put there, it doesn't make sense for us.
There you go. So remove all the fluff up. At the end of the day, story sell, facts tell. So focus on the story and the purpose, and most importantly, is on the how the numbers are being achieved. Because anyone can just really put up a valuation over there, and just take one question is like for the angel investor asks us like, oh, how do you compute that amount? So so there you go. From Stanley, so, it's the mindset, founding team, as well as the business plan. Yes, we actually have as a Leonard to say that for myself, I will look at the business model. If the business model not right, then it will be very difficult. So yeah, I believe most of the participants here, have agreed. So okay, I will ask us another question. I think that this is also a personal experience for me, and this is probably going to be on the other side of the bench that where is you guys are sitting on. So our investors, particularly in this local system, they actually also play a very challenging roles, added on to entrepreneurs like us. Of course, if you have received the message, investors over here are deemed as vultures. That's why hence we have to kindly bring these 2 angels to be saving the ecosystem. Now, a lot of investors are very traditional mindset. So they have had the experiences of investing into traditional business model. So oftentimes they are very indecisive with their investment needs and decisions. And of course, this is due to also the lack of knowledge of investing, in startups. Like I personally, have tried raising up monies, from investors, and they say that, oh, what sort of returns can you give me, after 1 year? And we all know that when we run a startup, it's really pretty much focusing, into a medium and also a long-term goal as well. So, and what's even worse, they will actually request, for exorbitant work. Like I remember I had as an investor asking me for 10 years projection, and I have to ask back, why 10 years? Because we all know the moment once when you start executing, whatever projection that we have given to you, it's also going to be redundant. At the end of the day, you should be asking me, how am I going to execute? How am I going to go to the market? So as an investor yourself, what advice will you give? I think what advice will you give to start up first to overcome this? And also, what have you done basically as an investor yourself to educate the investors in the local ecosystem? To any one of you.
Yeah.
Stanley?
So I have encountered a lot of these, right? Either mentoring or coaching. Again, I always go back to the fundamentals, right? So you need to know your fundamentals first. By what I meant is come back to that business plan, right? The business plan basically is like your blueprint, right? How you're going to execute. I mean, like what Arthur mentioned, the forecast, yeah, it might change over time, but that should be your guiding principle, right? maybe not 10 years, maybe 2 to 3 years. This is how you have forecasted it, right? And what are the activities, milestones that you have in place for you to achieve those numbers. So along the way, right, you have your actual numbers compared to the forecast. So if those things changes, right, your actual forecast, your actual numbers compared to the forecast actually start to differ, away, either up or down or whatever. It gives you a guideline, whether you've done right or wrong, how far have you missed, and what kind of things you need to change or do for you to basically go back on track. My definition of a startup basically is companies that basically you are in search of a profitable, repeatable, and scalable business model. That's what a startup basically, you are not sure, you just started, right? You are searching, right? You're searching for a business model that is profitable, that you can repeat and scale, right? So along the way, definitely you find a lot of mistakes, you learn along the way and all those. That's why the forecast and business plan is a good guideline to guide you so that you know whether you are on track or you're off track, or you have done too much or not enough or whatever. What kind of changes or improvement or improvise you need to do along the way. But without the guidelines, so you don't know where you're going or where you're heading, or whatever you do, whether it is on the right track or not. Okay, so that is something that is very important. It forces you to sit down and think through, right? Every dollar you spend, whether it contributes to the bottom line or not, right? Time, basically the three things is very important in startup is time, human resource, and money, right? So these three elements, you need to make sure that, especially in a startup, you need to make sure that, you spend them wisely. Like even you go for a networking event, what are the measurement or what are the return you expect to get from there, right? Or you spend $1,000 on a Facebook marketing campaign, right? What is your expected return or result, right? When the actual come in, you compare to your forecast, then you will know whether subsequently you want to spend the other, again, the same 1,000, or you want to spend more. It depends on the feedback, right? So the guideline is important.
Very well said, Stanley. I love the ways that, how you put it is a very simple, context, for everybody to understand. In fact, I'm not the only one is actually on the boat. Even Bernard shares the same notion that the analysis executive in the VC asking for 5 to 10 years projection to an early stage. So I believe, like, some of you who have raised money, who also have gone through the same matter as well. Over to you, just very quickly, what about yourself, Rina, before we begin our pitch?
I think, the perception of angel investors or VCs and Vulture, the two sides to a story. Of course, you probably think that all angels have wings and all angels have got a huge, pile of gold, or, we are a walking ATM. So it's quite sad that everybody thinks that I'm a walking ATM. So every sentence is, can you invest in me? I think it depends on how you slice the pie. For me, I think while angel investors get to choose which company we invest in, founders also get to choose if they really want to pursue me or Stanley, they should actually work very hard towards that and very targeted, because you see more value that we can bring besides money. Because as angel investors, I think what you want to harness from your investors are basically their network, their experience, and they'll be there to guide you, to mentor you. So sometimes the founders had this mindset that because they came out with a beautiful pitch deck, therefore we have to invest in them. I think there is the sense of entitlement. They should actually throw it down the bin, because there are so many different companies raising funds. So if I don't invest in your e-commerce company, there are many reasons. It could be because there is an education company that I feel strongly that I want to support. It's not just because your e-commerce company is not attractive. So they have to understand that. How do you then deal with sharks or vultures, I guess it is important that you have a good team. If you can, I would encourage the founders to have, someone who actually understands numbers. Most of the startups don't understand numbers, and they basically get themselves trapped in all the very complicated term sheet. But if you don't have money to hire a lawyer, there are many also startup law firms that provides, very, I think, simplified templates for very, very affordable fees. If you're saying that Asian investors are like vultures, they should encounter the angel investors or the VCs from Silicon Valley, because their lawyers will basically tie your hands, all the time. So important to get, if you're not sure on the term sheet, don't sign it. Get your friends, lawyers to review it, because once you sign, you're going to sign your life to it. So be very careful on that. Yeah.
Rina, I wish I could have this debate with you, because I have had experiences of encountering the investors in Silicon Valley. But due to the time that we have, we will now dive in straight as to highlights of this session.
Can I just add a bit before that? I just want to add on to what Rina mentioned just now. Yeah, I think one of the main challenge is, when a lot of entrepreneurs felt that, those VCs or angels are vultures, is also because, come back to what I mentioned just now, because you're not able to justify your numbers, your valuations, right? At the end of the day, some of them, they, as I mentioned, they put a very good, very nice valuation in their forecast, right? So from the investor's point of view, if you can't justify the numbers, they look at it, the risk is much higher. Therefore, for them, they have to put much more buffers, right? Because you don't have the detail to support all those forecasts, all those numbers that you're going to make, right? So if you're able to, have a more substance to basically justify or substantiate your valuations, your numbers of those, so you're in a better position for you to negotiate a better terms. I think that's exactly one of the main challenges that a lot of startup founders face.
If you're able to make money, then we have less, wild cards. We will not be able to press low. Of course, everybody wants to buy low and you want to sell high, but if your stakes are higher than mine, it's just like a poker game, right? So if you're able to justify your numbers and you prove it, not with, they like to prove it with social media, being featured in this magazine, that magazine. I think that one is, to me, doesn't translate to even 1 cent. But if you tell me that, during this COVID, you have spoken to 500 companies and actually, you managed to close 5, I think you're doing some realistic work. I would actually invest in a person like this than, someone who basically do a lot of very superficial, glamorous thing, but, the pocket or the pipeline is still empty.
Rina, I wish that we're going to have like a 2.0, and so hence as we can continue this debate, because as I'm sitting as on the entrepreneur side, and of course the both of you are angels. If only I could pitch this to the both of you much earlier, but due to the time constraint that we have now, ladies and gents, we come to the highlights of this session, that where we'll be featuring 5 businesses, 5 entrepreneurs who will be pitching, and of course as our darling angels sitting on the bench today will be giving us a very viable, constructive feedbacks. So we thank you once again for those who submitted your pitch decks. However, due to the limited time that we have, we will only be picking 5. Not exactly because on who is better, but it's simply because of the it's to match today's current mood and context. So with that, I'll pass the floor over to William, and over to you, William.
Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today. Okay, we are here from both Rina and Stanley on how they invest and why they invest. And of course, Arthur shared his fair share of entrepreneurship. Okay, so yes, Rina is a walking ATM, because every 2 weeks or 1 month, I say, oh, hey, yeah, she got a chocolate business. She invested in a VC company, an angel company, or some packaged food company called Brahim Franchise. And of course, she owns a franchise of My Chan, in Philippines, and I'm not sure. The last time I had her is probably 9. Okay, and of course, if you talk about Stanley, he has supported my last 3 pre-IPO deals. Okay, 1 million each. Okay, so he likes that. Okay, so yes, so today we have 6 pitch actually, because one of the last guy that I want him to share with you as well is because he just ends his pitch. Okay, he had a pitch this morning. Okay, so maybe he can share with us later. Okay, all right, just some house rules. Let me just share the screen with you before we start. As you know, entrepreneurs are very, very excited about their deals. Okay, they are very passionate about their business. So, okay, these are the house rules. Okay, before I go to that, there's a disclaimer box there. Investments carry risk, so you may lose partial or all your investments. Please consult your advisors before you make any investment decision. Okay, this is a must. All right, otherwise the Security Commission will be after me. All right, we have 6 presenters today. These are all from a selective of 20 decks that I received with the 3 days notice. So thank you so much for supporting this event. Okay. And all right, all these speakers are experienced. Okay, 2 of them is actually launching their ECF fundraising very, very soon. Okay, and one of them is actually raising the Series B or Series C already. Okay, so without further ado, before we start, there's the quick house rule. This is strictly 5 minutes. Everybody's time is precious. Okay, so at 4th minute, you'll probably hear this. I'll just run a sample for you. Do you hear the sound? Okay, the ping sound. All right, that's it. When you hear that boom sound, okay, you stop and say thank you very much, and you will be followed by a comment from both angel. Okay, the comment will be short and sweet. Okay, we leave the rest of the question to the end. Okay, an audience can ask question in the chat box. Okay, and after the workshop, we'll send you a questionnaire if you want to speak or connect with the speakers. Okay, so if you look at the deck here, you can see the 6 speakers are in order here. So let's start. Let me just stop share and then we'll proceed. Are you ready? Hi. Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you?
Who's going on first? So we
right.
take order?
All right, okay. You have 5 minutes. Start.
Hello there, guys. My name is Ritish. I'm a CEO and founder of CBD MedCard. We started off in Thailand about January 2019. I actually sold one of my clinics from Malaysia, moved down there to start off in medical marijuana cannabis business. But then we ended up changing our whole model once we came here back to Malaysia to expand on our clinical system. What we're trying to do is basically all doctors are not connected, and we're trying to get a system up and going, which is already in MVP and being tested out. We have tested it out from Thailand, and now we're bringing it here. The problem is we don't have shared data for doctors and practitioners who are private compared to hospitals. Hospitals are all connected. So you have all your EMS or your medical records. What we are doing is now giving opportunity for doctors all across Asia to have the same platform as doctors. MOH, they don't allow you to share doctor information because of patient data, but we have got past that by selling them the card and giving them an option to share their data. So what we're doing now, this is our medical cards in Thailand. We're changing the whole thing to having your medicine and being able to travel, having your EMS, your electric medical records, EMR, sorry, with you at all times with your card. That means if you're traveling and you're a business traveler, you can actually walk or go to any of the clinics anywhere in Asia using our system, and you'll be safe in the sense that they will know your prescription, they will know your patient history and data. That means it's not only when you have an insurance card, it doesn't work as well as having your electronic medical records. So we have a patient platform. We are a dual platform system. One is for the patients to sign on and get cards, and one is a medical system, which is for the doctors, clinical system. How do we make money? We have clinical system subscription. We sell medical cards. We sell the data because in our questionnaire, when you're asked, you are allowed to say, yes, we want to share our data with the other healthcare professionals. So our target markets are local patients in Malaysia, local patients in Thailand, medical tourists, travelers in general, doctors, clinics, hospitals, and government institutes. Right now, what everybody's talking about is COVID. COVID needs, when you travel from in Asia, from Cambodia to Laos to Vietnam, right now what they're asking for is something what the UN has proposed, which is a digital medical passport or an immunity passport, where you can actually show your medical card and immigration can pull up your special, let's say if you want to show only your COVID-free medical papers, you put in your code or give them your code. All these papers will be shown to the immigration officer. Everything here has been put up and uploaded by doctors, so they are certified documentations. If you want to go and put your stuff on to the system, you can't do it yourself because the doctor has to do it for you. So you have to give everything to the doctor and the doctor puts it up on his system. Our team members are Rinesh Dorai, my brother, Farhan and Co, our lawyers for here. Nanpat Lee is our lawyers in Thailand. Chris Mullard is our interim CFO. Harish Kumar. We actually work with a lot of NGOs. That's how, when we came from Thailand to Malaysia, within the first month before COVID, we had a...
You have to stop here. Okay. Can you please stop sharing and let's welcome the next speaker.
Okay, we are asking for 500,000 US dollars.
Can we ready?
Yes, hello.
All right, the floor is yours. 5 minutes starts now.
Okay, let me just open my screen, share my screen, and oops. Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Wong. I'm from RentLab. So RentLab Sdn Bhd is a property technology startup, and we aim to create a fully digitalized and automated property rental platform. So as we all know, nowadays a lot of property owners are suffering. They have properties that they cannot rent out. So imagine if you have a property 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or even more that you can't find a tenant, and yet you have to pay mortgages and other expenses. Immediately your ROI goes down to the drain, right? Next, current property renting processes are manual and time consuming. If you ask any agents, they'll be able to tell you how many trips they need to make in order to close a deal. Not to mention about the hassle of arranging all the property viewings and also back and forth negotiation between the landlord and the tenants. The worst of all is who gets to decide what is the final rent for that property. So obviously the landlord will want it higher and the tenants will offer much lower. And now we have this unprecedented COVID-19 and MCO situation. So people cannot go out to view properties and property transactions actually drop tremendously. So how do we solve that? RentLab is Malaysia's first rental bidding portal. So we provide online and real-time property bidding. So we help to match properties to tenants faster. And we also get to know who are the tenants who are interested in that property and how much they are willing to pay for that particular property. We simplify and cut down a lot of processes. Okay, from let's say it takes initially 2 weeks to now 5 days. We also automate a lot of parts. For example, tenancy agreement can be generated automatically. We also provide a full end-to-end property rental solutions from A to Z. So everything can be done online. And back to COVID-19, okay, using RentLab, using our virtual tour and bidding online, you now don't have to go out and meet the landlords or the tenants in person. So no chance for you to contract the virus. So RentLab provides a fair, transparent, and dynamic platform for all. A lot of information like the ownership information and property listing can be verified to provide the information are current, up to date, and accurate. And through our special features, okay, we can actually offer a lot of benefits to the landlords, tenants, and estate agents. Imagine now you don't have to pack yourself to do 8 viewings over the next weekend. You can do 20 viewings in one night at the comfort of your home. So the bidding process on RentLab is very simple. First, the tenant goes online and search for their desired properties. Next, they study and review the property information in detail. If they are interested, they can make an offer online as well as bid online within their budget. And finally, at the end of the bidding period, the landlord gets to review all the offers and select his preferred tenant. The market is huge for rental. So based on the market, Malaysia stock, existing stock, we did a calculation estimated that the total rental market is 2.83 billion. And how do we capture this market? First step is a marketplace, which we are developing now. And secondly is the end-to-end solution whereby we can provide other services like the tenant and rental management system integrated to it. And with all this data that we can collect, we can do more advanced analytics and provide AI system for the industry. Currently, we are at the final stage of our product development and testing. So we have actually obtained more than 30 listings that consist of apartments. Yes? Yes?
Time is up, 5 minutes already. Okay, so can you just wrap up? How much?
Okay, so competition, okay. So we are sharing, we are offering 20% equity for R1 million. So we will aim to achieve 1 million revenue in the first year. So this will help us sustain us for 12 months running. Thank you.
My apologies just now. The angels supposed to comment after the first speaker has ended. My apologies for that. So Rina, while Ritesh's presentation is still fresh in your mind, and Rina and Stanley, maybe you can comment on both the presenter. You can start with the Ritesh one first. The Met card.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Ritesh. Fortunately or unfortunately, I have actually invested in a medtech or a EMR company back in Singapore in 2008, and currently they are the biggest in New Zealand and second largest in Australia. They have actually implemented EMR across the region. And my question is really, I didn't get to see, like, how are you stacking up compared to your competitors in the region? Because building an EMR, I think if you have a tech team, is very doable. The only challenge is the compliance and the data privacy. So perhaps you want to address that. How are you so different from an EMR? The company is called MedTech Global. We also have one called Attune, which is based out of India. So perhaps you want to just share with us very sweet and sharp. Why are you so different?
Ritesh, can you take note of the question so that we will have it during the Q&A session? Okay, yep. Because we have terms of time, so we'll proceed with the other pictures. Stanley, any comment from you on the MedTech? Stanley, you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, so basically on my side, other than what Rina had mentioned just now, I would like to see first, other than the forecast itself, is, I think the challenge here is for you to roll out your system to all these clinics. There's so many clinics out there, right? So what is your cost of acquisition, for example, lifetime values, whether the unit of economics actually makes sense or not, right? So at what is the tipping points, the numbers of clinics that you need to have, and also on the client side for you to actually make sense to keep going. I think those are the basic fundamentals.
Okay, next, Rina, any question for Mr. Wong on RentLab?
I would like to know when did the company started, and how much have you guys as founders put in to bring it from ideation stage to your I said probably your prototype right now that you're going to launch. Yeah. And
Yes,
who else have you raised any money from angels, friends, or family?
Yeah, hi Rina, this is Wong.
You can answer later during the
okay.
Q&A. Yeah,
Sure,
these
sure.
are my questions. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so on my side, also same thing. I always look at the acquisition cost and all those, because I also have been coaching a similar property tech company as well. I think the challenge here is basically you need to have a very short or automated process for you to onboard all these tenants, all these new listings, and also competitor-wise, all these existing property listing companies, iProperties and all those, how difficult for them to actually also introduce, some similar tenant listing instead of now they already have a whole system that basically lists, house. So for them to actually create additional services for tenants, how difficult is it, right? And also on your side, what are the top 3 challenges you face during your pilot run when you start to acquiring all these 30 odds tenants? What are the main challenges you face?
Yeah. Maybe another question is, how are you going to disrupt the giants like iProperty, Property Guru, because they are the dominants in the market?
Okay, please take note, Ms. Wong. Okay, Vicky is ready. So Vicky, the floor is yours. The time starts now.
Okay. Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for taking your time today. My name is Vicky. Today, I'll be presenting about the future of robo-advisory, as well as why you should invest in us for the future of wealth. So if we look at the market right now, we're looking at total asset management of 1.4 trillion US dollars with 47% year on year, plus users as well with 70 billion. And the potential market that we can able to target is 47 trillion. And this concept actually started back in 2010 by John Steen. And within the short amount of 10 years, robo-advisors are able to outperform the average return rate for mutual funds. So that is why, we have a pretty good lock on it. So what is the problem actually? The problem actually is there's too many financial products to choose from with very, very high commission and a lot of hidden fees. So a lot of people don't really understand how finance works. They don't understand how to choose where their next investment can be. So that is why we created our robo-advisory AI. So what we can offer is investment AI. Right now you have AI that can help you drive your car. You have AI that can help you navigate where you go. So what we want to do is really to maximize on smart investments with a very low cost. And what it does for users is that it really helps them generate a new source of passive income. And it helps them do automated trading and portfolio management. So these are very much run by very smart robots that we do. And our architecture is similar to AlphaGo, which was the one that beat the world's best chess player. Moving on, who we are. So we are a fintech company that founded back in March 2019. And our mission and vision is to really, through robo-advisory, really help people achieve a better quality in life and understand a lot more about what is wealth to them. And we'll be launching our first robo-advisory marketplace. We've seen a lot of people launch robo-advisors, but none of them actually launch a marketplace for it, because what they do for people is that they target a very much lifestyle approach to them. So they would target banks, let's say retirement planning for, all these funds, and then as well as investments for maybe your future businesses and maybe helping you on your house loans or your kids' student loans. But what we do is we really much focus on investments. So we will be ready by Q4 this year, and we purely do equity portfolio management. And we really add in the social aspect of it. So how it works is really easy. It's just 4 simple stats that users are able to pick and choose their investments. So they would go through, download app, answer questionnaires according to their risk appetite and how much they will be investing, and we will generate a very good amount of portfolio, and they'll invest in their money and pick their robo-advisors. And this is how the robo marketplace prototype would look like. So you can see here, this is your profile, and then within this dashboard, you can see each robots. They're very much focused in certain elements. So their expertise is to really focus on trading style, as well as, in different countries, different sectors, etc. And we added a very social online community essence into it. So people are able to review and to communicate between each other on how the robo-advisors work and how it has helped them. And we offer 3 different kind of packages. And our business model is fairly simple. We just charge an upfront management fee with a subscription plan that's based on an annual basis. And we do a profit sharing when users are profiting from us. And what we are able to offer B2B institutions is we're really targeting the traditional banks, the fund managers, all those traders, because they're able to serve only a certain amount of clientele due to the manpower and the lack of, analysis on their portfolio. So we're able to help that really generate that.
Okay, Rina, any comment from yourself?
I am interested to know your team's background. Have you guys managed any portfolios before? Are you bankers, or what are the backgrounds of the team?
So for our background,
you can
Later, Stanley,
okay.
later.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so on my side, basically, I mean, this is like, the earliest stage of the search engine, right? Everyone is going into this. These are hot topics. I think the challenge now is how good is the execution side, right? At the end of the day, for this type of business model, they just look at, the accuracies, the return that you manage to generate over time.
Yep.
I will need to, have a side talk with you to understand a bit more. I think for a few minutes it's very hard to do evaluations.
Because this is quite technical, but one of my co-investors invested in a robo-advisor as well. So we can have a side check on this.
Sean,
thank you.
Are you ready? Vicky, you have the stop screen.
Yeah.
Yep, you have to exit. All right. Sean, if you're ready.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, can you? All right, the floor is yours. You have 5 minutes. Shoot.
Okay, hi, my name is Sean. I'm from Snap. So today I'm going to talk to you about Snap. Basically, Snap focuses on bringing consumers to business. All right. So this is my team. So basically, I have about 20 over investors who are serial entrepreneurs around Asia who have invested in Snap. And I've got my head of sales, head of onboarding, system architect, and some board advisors. So one of my more prominent board advisors is the former Amazon.com CTO, Andres Wagen. Right? So basically, we know now retail is suffering. So this is my pitch deck before COVID. So before COVID, I was really talking about this. So my focus is really to drive traffic to the malls and merchants. Okay. The other problem is that no one has effectively monetized the QR code. So what Snap has done is we have done that. Traditional marketing has become ineffective, and we know that right now online is the way to go. So my pitch is really very straightforward to the consumer. Scan QR code, earn point, refer friend, earn point, override your 2-level social circle, and when they spend, and basically when you hunt for special QR codes by merchants, you earn money to spend. And these points that you get, you can spend anywhere in the world. So a lot of people ask me, what am I like? Basically, I am like maybe Pokemon and Groupon combined. All right. So the other thing is that I want you to focus. One thing that Snap focuses on is KOC. We focus on turning every single Snap user into a micro-influencer. So some of the usages of Snap points, basically Snap points can be used both from merchant point of view as well as for users. So, and this is a powerful backend that we have built. We have built every single thing, all this, all for the merchant to engage the user. So from CRM, cashless payment, and then during COVID, we launched our group buying feature like Pinduoduo. We already have social commerce marketplace launch as well, and the rest of the features that have always been in Snap all the time. So basically, scan random QR codes and points, hunt for special QR codes like a rare monster, and you earn a lot more points from the merchant. And basically, it's a feature that we released. Basically, it's like Pinduoduo, basically it's group buying. The more people buy, the price drops. So Snap points is really the currency in Snap ecosystem. So this was a campaign that was launched a few days ago by one of the top influencers in Malaysia, Yang Baopei. So our social influencers are all the super users in Snap. So within 3.5 months before COVID, we acquired 140 brands in Malaysia. During COVID, I took advantage of the situation and acquired 503 Snap-like merchants in Singapore. Yeah, so this is where we are going. So we want to be the #1 app that people use to scan QR codes because they get to make money. Now we all know MasterCard, Visa are all card schemes. My focus is to turn Snap points into the global point scheme of the world. So how does Snap make money? Transactional income from Snap to Pay, revenue from Snap Marketplace, as well as advertising income from the various usages that merchants can use the Snap points for. And also, of course, valuation growth. So who are we looking for? We want to look for investors that want to help us become the top 10 app in Southeast Asia. So this is where we are. This is where I'm going. Snap doesn't stop. We started in 2017 with the support of a lot of my friends and business network. So over the time, we've raised about 1.6 million. Currently, we are doing a 2 million round, post-money 8 million valuation. Sing. Yep, so basically I wanted to keep within the short time frame, because it was 5 minutes. If anybody has any question, you can feel free to contact me and you can scan my QR code to WhatsApp me. I'm done.
All right, thank you, Sean. Rina, any comment?
Not much of a question because I've heard Sean pitch before, but my curiosity is like you have 20 over angels investors in your company, and you have raised 1.6 million. Any VC invested? And
not yet, but maybe the next one might be Rina Neoh.
I typically don't like to deal with too many investors on the board.
Yeah, I know, but we can restructure it.
Okay. Any comment from Stanley?
Yeah, I think you are way past the angels rounds now, right? The amount and your expansion plan, all those you should be looking at the VC side. So from the VC point of view, again, your slide data all looks very nice, but as I say, at the end of the day, we need to look at. I didn't see your forecast numbers and all those, right? And the money that you want to raise, how do you utilize it, and so on and so forth. I think that's for now.
Okay, Sean, you can stop screen now. And next, we have William Lim from Ideal Hub. William, are you ready? Sean, I need you to stop sharing. Sean, can you stop sharing? All right. Okay, William, are you there? Can you unmute yourself? Hold on, please, William. Can you start again? Okay, your time will start now. Okay, can you please start again? William, you are still. Let me unmute you.
Right, can you hear me?
Okay, please start. Your time starts now.
Right, so Ideal Hub is actually an online rental platform. what different about us is that we support both offline and online. So when we started off, we actually started off as with a platform, and then we are actually slowly building our features. And what we actually started off is actually on the homestay side, and now we are actually moving towards some short-term and long-term and mid-term rental. So what we are actually planning to do is like we are the all-to-all real estate platform. So because what we already manage like over hundreds of properties, sometimes the customers that actually come in, the owners, they actually not only want, okay, can you help me to rent it out, and then I also don't want to be bothered, but can you help me to manage, renovate it and stuff like that. So while we're actually building this, we actually build our technology around it, and then build a lot of channel partners, or like renovation companies, and also the property managers from other states, so that we can actually grow our property. So if you look into it, Idea Hub really wanted to be a offline to online real estate that can actually support the institution in property investors investment cycle, from renovation, renting, maintenance, home sales, and home purchase. All right. So a bit different. What we really do is we actually drive through our technologies, and of course we have rental platforms where people can actually come in and self-booking. Everything paid online. Even their rental are actually paid online now for some of our room rentals tenants. And also what we really do is that we actually scale through our automation. So right now we are actually managing hundreds and helping owners to pay their utility bills. So we already have all this actually built into our ecosystem. So our business model we have a couple of business models, depends on where you are. So one thing is a short-term rental. We actually take 30% monthly from after deducting the revenue, and of course there are other charges like professional cleaning and others part as well that actually we outsource it to the cleaning companies. There are also like co-living rooms. We actually help owners to manage their rooms as well. If they want to actually want to increase their yield by renting out rooms, we actually help them to manage as well. Right now, we also partner with a lot of property managers, and coming in, they are actually using our platform to host their rental listing, and we are actually charging 10 to 15% for each transactions. So for long term, is actually rental collections, because from there, what we really want to do is that when someone actually come in, they are in, when a tenant actually come in, they're able to know that, okay, all these are actually what you see is what you get, properties. You are able to pay online, and everything is guaranteed by Idea Hub through our partnerships. So this is our business model. Then market rental size, as you know, it's actually quite big in property. And we are actually supporting short-term, long-term co-living and stuff like that. So if you really go into our websites, right, there's one unit that is for short-term, and you're also able to actually rent it for long-term. So there's a flexibility when it comes to renting. And people right now, especially COVID, their job is, they are not stable. So we allow people to rent from 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, and all through our platforms. And when you come for long-term, there will be digital signing, tenancy agreement and stuff like that. We actually started to launch our contactless self-check-in and self-moving. So these are the things that we are actually doing for our innovations. So right now we are in a lot of, we are in 51 buildings and locations. So through our partners and our own managed team. So we actually manage, have a management, we actually manage quite a lot of places like in Malacca, Johor, the rest of it, and Klang Valley as well. And the rest of it are actually through our partners that actually live with us, that wanted to have the facilities of able to do a long-term rental or mid-term rental. So basically this is where we are right now. Our current, and then this is a sample of our units that we actually renovated.
Time's up. Okay, Rina, any questions?
I'm interested in the acquisition cost, your client acquisition cost. Later, maybe you can address that.
Stanley?
I want to know your current team size, right? And also want to know, I mean, you cover the whole ecosystem, right? Which part is done by you guys, or which part is done by third parties? And basically, what kind of business engagement or arrangement you have with all these parties, you know, exclusivities or case by case basis, how you basically manage, you know, the qualities of the services that you provide. I think for now that's the question that I have.
Okay, so William, please take note. Later on, we can interact later. Okay, we have our last presenter. Okay, Dr. Ian Ng. Okay, he just presented as well this morning to some VCs, if I'm not mistaken, in Singapore. Okay, Dr. Ian, if you're ready, can you share screen, and then the floor is yours.
Yep. Hi. Yeah. Thanks, William. Thanks for the last minute addition. Yeah. Okay. Hi, panelists. Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm actually Dr. Ian from Vita. So what I do is actually I'm an occupational health doctor, and I've been focusing on workplace preventive health and safety for the past 12 years, and I'm still practicing. I realize there's a lot of gaps in terms of health at the workplace, so we want to create a digital health ecosystem. Just want to point out in terms of death rate, actually heart disease is the #1 cause of death. Of course, in the past 2 months, it's probably coronavirus, but in the long term, you talk about heart disease, and 1 in 3 of us will die because of a heart attack. And stress, we find, is the common risk factor that is underlying all these incidents of heart attack. So this is a largely unmeasured metric as well. Just to give you an idea, if you get a heart attack in Malaysia, you will spend up to 30,000 ringgit to do a balloon angioplasty, which is a procedure to open up the vessels in your heart. Compare that to 200 years of annual health screening. This is the cost of a preventive health. So based on 150 ringgit, just to know the risk factor to prevent that incidence of heart disease. What Vita has done, we have actually put your health record onto your phone, so you can actually recall and you can understand your health much better than just reading a normal blood report. So our interface is user-friendly, is in 3 languages for Malaysia, and we are charting your blood data every 6 months whenever you do your blood test, basically. And on top of that, by going digital, the benefit is that we can calculate the exact percentage point risk of you getting a heart attack in the next 10 years, and we'll tell you how to lower these percentage points step by step as well. So we don't only want to stop at display of information and understanding, we also want to guide you on proper healthy lifestyle. So our Health Compass feature is on the app as well, and we will be able to locate nearby sports activities, healthy eating, health seminars. We want to actually build that community of health and that mentality that you need to modify your lifestyle to improve the health for long term. Charity events, we believe, is also an important part of this as well. And all these are just free listings on our app. So we are really currently generating revenue at the moment. We are selling blood tests through our app. You can actually download and book a lab test and then go to a doctor on our panels. And we are hooked up to the diagnostic lab for our information system. So the information exchange is seamless. But right now, because we have limited resources, so we are targeting businesses to acquire customers in bulk. So our market opportunity is mostly to B2B at the moment. We are targeting the 34,000 businesses that have 50 or more employees in Malaysia, and they are really looking at wellness benefits for their staff. So mainly our target is the HR people. We have launched last year in May, and then we started doing campaigns for corporates since July. And the above portion would be the ones that we have done, and the more notable ones will be Hewlett Packard, where we did 300 people over 3 days. So we do 100 a day, and we did screening at their corporate site. So this is what we do. We actually bring our team to the office, and we actually take blood for everyone and do consultation as well. And this is the university that is partnered with us. So we do screening for all the students that come in, and everyone is on board onto the app as well. So what's the benefit of a corporate coming in to do a screening with us? Because if they go traditional method and they do the screening in any lab like BP lab or whatever, they get a paper-based report and no further analytics. But what we provide is actually digitize all this record, every single parameter, and we do we apply our our heart disease risk algorithms, and we're able to separate by department, by age group, by gender. So actually the corporate will get a very good picture of what the health status is of their entire employee base. So the more employees, the more value, of course. And our new feature for this as well, because we are looking at mental health, in particular for occupational diseases. So this is on the app, you can actually answer a questionnaire to get a gauge of your depression, anxiety, and stress. Well, you're going to say that this is subjective sort of questionnaire, right? But we do find that when we do a pilot with 30 people in a company, we find that their responses are actually, everyone is going to be honest if they know the employer is not going to be looking at the result. This is anonymous, but we compile the data at the back end and it's all sent de-identified data back to the corporate to see.
Okay, Dr. Ian, time's up. All right.
Yeah, sorry.
Any question from Rina?
I think I quite like the business model. Is basically addressing things that most of us professionals take for granted. I think I will need to understand a little bit more because one of my investee company also deals with healthcare and wellness of employees, but they basically have a they basically actually sync it with performance management and the talent management of the company itself. So I would probably love both of you to have a chat later.
That'll be great, Rina. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
On my side, I would like to know currently your revenue model, is this just for testing bloods, and how about other things like high blood pressures, diabetes, and all those? And also, do they pay for subscriptions for using your applications? Is there another revenue channels that you can generate? Because if it's just blood testing, so you're not going to have a lot of recurring revenue, right? Maybe they do every 6 months or every year, for example. And it's quite tedious because you have to personally go there, or they can go to the lab. But for my experience, if you go to a clinic, for example, they only charge about 100 ringgit. So if you're charging about 150, so you're competing with them as well, right? So if I just walk into a clinic and do a blood test profile, a simple cholesterol profile, whatever, it costs me about 100.
Yeah.
So that side also you have to look at. And then, as I say, all this pressure or all this stress and all those things, is it revenue generating, or it's nice to have, because now all this, like even the wrist watches and all those can do stress measurement, all these things already. So you're competing with those as well, right? So we need to understand your revenue models, and moving forward for the next 2-3 years, you look at technology advancement, you look at all these devices, all those will also able to play that role, right? Even now, the new Samsung watch coming up, they're going to able to do high blood pressure on the wrist. Yeah, so need to be able to forecast that kind of competitors coming in. Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that ends our pitching session. Okay, so just a quick comment. Like I mentioned just now, all the entrepreneurs are very, very passionate about business. There's so much to share. But if you get used to the pitching format locally and overseas, there's always a time frame. So you have to train yourself, okay, to actually convey your message, okay, within the shortest time frame possible to generate interest, okay. Like some of the comment from angels, they want to know more, okay. So if you are able to generate interest, of course they will connect with you, and therefore when you arrange for a second meeting, okay, then you have more time, okay. So you just imagine yourself in a public event or in an elevator. That's why they call it elevator pitch, okay. You have only a few seconds, or probably 10-15 seconds before the guy leaves the elevator, okay. So that's why you need to make sure that you have a 1-minute version, 5-minute version, or probably 10-20 minutes version. Okay. So, okay, Arthur, I'll pass the floor back to you, and then we can start the interactive Q&A session.
Very good. Thank you so much, William, and thank you all these 6 presenters. Definitely very insightful. I learned a thing or two. So before we move on to the Q&A session, can we just have as should we have the presenter to be answering the questions from the angels? Shall we do that? So yeah, so if so, yeah, so can we have Ritesh, so from the questions that the angels have asked, just very quickly, could you share?
Yeah, make it sweet and simple.
Yeah.
Straight to the point.
I think Rina asked how we're going to actually execute this because other countries have it. What we're doing is we started off for substance which is illegal in Malaysia. And the way we made systems is we already had that in mind with the laws and MOH and all the other countries. So when we made our system, we made it to ensure that it can be run in different countries at the same time. So that was a plan from the start itself. Even though we're not going to be doing what we are doing in Thailand here, we are selling the cards as an EMR system for patients, as well as probably upselling insurance with it.
Okay. Very quickly, Kiwi, yourself.
Yes, hi. Three questions from Rina. So number one, RenLab is actually established only July last year, but we have been working on this project for 1.5 years. Okay. So far we are bootstrapping on a very lean basis. We have spent about 60K. No, we have not raised any funds yet. So for three questions from Stanley, can I quickly just show one slide on the competitors? Then that will help me to answer the questions easier. Yeah, okay, sure. Quick one, yeah. Sharing now. Okay, so obviously, as you know, there are definitely competitors in the market. So how we stand out is that we find that a lot of portals in the market, they are doing transactions or customer engagement offline instead of online. So we do that online, firstly. Then we do a transaction also online. Secondly is that we actually do over the wide spectrum of properties, including commercial, retail, offices, not just residential. So how the other players can disrupt us. We think that they are the big boys, not easy. They are not as agile as a startup, so not easy for them to change the business model. Three challenges. Okay. So far landlords love our idea, and tenants love our idea also because they know that through bidding system they can actually get a very fair and true market rate. The only challenges now we get is a lot of agents. They are so used to the old ways of doing that. So to get them on board, that takes a little bit of time, but we actually add a lot of value for agents also. Yeah, does that answer the questions?
All right, no worries. I mean, should there be any further questions? Of course, feel free to be in touch with our angels too. Very quickly, Vicky, yourself. Could you just unmute yourself?
So Rina's question was on our founding team. Our founding team was our founder is actually, he has 10 years of trading experience. His name is Yong Ning, and he was previously in the founding team of this crypto digital exchange in Malaysia. So that's one out of three that is approved by SC, and it's actually at a current valuation of 70 million ringgit. And if you talk about, to answer Stanley's question on team member efficiency and efficiency on of the system, so we will be looking forward into pushing our products, and we will host everything in AWS, so everything will be up and running. And to answer what is it in our team, so our team is actually a lot of people that's based in actuary and a lot of data science members. So that will be how we will be executing, and we'll be using the funds to get more people back on business development. And yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Vicky. How about yourself, Sean? Sean Tan from Snap.
Oh, okay. Hi. So basically, I think Rina's question was, do I have any VC right now? Not really, because I have a bit more, what I call super angels that invested. But currently we are actually talking to VCs, but I would prefer to entertain more super angels that would be keen to invest in Snap. Regarding traction, maybe I could show you real data. So I guess this happens often. Whenever I talk about Snap, people will just download through my link. Right? So you can see, right? This is live from my phone. And user acquisition, basically everybody acquires user for me, including the merchant and the malls. So user acquire user, user acquire merchant, merchant acquire user, user acquire merchant, more acquire merchant, and more can also acquire user. So that's the ecosystem that Snap operates in. Virality is the king of the game in Snap, and social influencers are, like I said, are our super users. So we already launched a lucky draw campaign, giving out a car end of the year. From now to end of the year, we hope to engage about 30 to 40 more social influencers other than Yang Baopei that we have launched with. Yeah, so
Well,
that's about it.
thanks very much, Sean. Over to you, William. William
Right.
Lim.
Hello. Yeah. So from Rina questions, the acquisition cost for us is actually very low. When we actually started, what we actually do is we implement a referral program. So most of our managed unit are actually referrals from owners and also from property agents. So basically, what they do is when they actually introduce the owner and the owner sign up, they actually get a percentage cut of our income every month until the owner terminate. So this is actually very attractive for us to acquire. On the tenant side, what we do is that we also list in Booking.com, Agoda, Traveloka, and stuff like that, right? So when they actually book, and we will try to convert them to our own platform. And right now, we are seeing the conversion rate of 10 to 15%. After they actually go into Booking.com, because our platform is having a lower rate, and we also give coupon and etc., they are actually converting directly. Of course, local payments, like for example, cash payment in 7-Eleven and also FBX make a lot of difference because a lot of those OTAs online are not able to provide local payments. So for the other one on current SIM size, our current SIM size is 70 members, and whole ecosystem. How do we actually partner, right? We have a renovation partner, we have a cleaning partner. We also have property managers as assisting property managers that actually manage like 50 units. So whenever we have a locations or someone inquiry, we will also pass to all these property managers so that we get a cut of it, but the owner is under Idea Hub contract. So basically they will earn the cleaning and they will get a certain percentage of it, but the owners communications and tenant communications is actually done by Idea Hub itself. So viewing will be done by the operators and etc. So the main how we actually manage this is that we have a project managers that actually manage the bigger stuff like the reno and reno. The rest of it are actually done by the supervisors of the reservations or the customer services.
Too lengthy.
All right, thanks a lot, William. Yeah, last but not least, Dr. Ian.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Arthur. So Rina, just to answer your question, yeah, we do look for partnerships with training providers like performance management consultants and those kind of training providers that we can work in synergy with them because we are like a measurement tool. We measure the human psychology factor and they apply whatever their philosophy is on how to improve the performance based on that measurement. And then we can track it over time as well. So that would be great to discuss further. And for Stanley, yeah, definitely we are looking at more channels of revenue generation, but right now just to get to the market first, we do start with the blood test because there's an ongoing demand. But once we get the stress analytics function properly hashed out, then that might be a business intelligence tool that we might charge subscription for the corporates on. And the wearables integration, yes, later on, but it's too resource intensive to actually, because there's so many wearables to integrate with, so we have to focus on just integrating with our labs for the moment, and the wearables will come like late stage when we can get enough tech guys to actually do that manual integration with each device. Yeah. So and in terms of cost, we are actually same price with a clinic, but the added advantage is that your record, you can bring it from one clinic to another clinic and you can transport this around with you, whereas the other one you have to bring a paper with you. So it's a different thing, manual versus digital. Yeah, thanks.
All right, there you go, ladies and gents, and thank you so much to all 6 presenters who have enthusiastically shared their business. Of course, I believe that the angels are also still digesting all this information you have shared with them. I believe that Williams had already flashed already. Should there be any inquiries you want to reach out to them, so please feel free, to speak to them directly, or you could also speak to us, and we could also connect to you. So, yeah. So we have slightly overrun a bit. So I know that there are a lot of questions that they have flowed in. You could actually just ask the questions directly, to our angels. So at least we could also let you go right on time. So last but not least, I just want to flash this once again. So please, as I do join us, take your phone out and also flash us at this. And so hence, as I scan the QR code, and you were able to join us as we have created this WhatsApp group by the name of Engineers Unite. So hence, as you were able to stay close with our happenings, our news, and all these virtual events and also physical events. Hopefully, we're able to do soon as once this whole crazy time is over. And also not forgetting to join our Facebook group. So at least then, you will be receiving the first-hand news of what's happening with us. So we'll be doing more of such events like that. So continue staying tuned with us and continue staying updated with us. And with that, as I believe that due to the overwhelming response today, we will be having the angels in the house as a 2.0. So with that, as I'll bid you farewell, and we're not saying goodbye, and we shall see you soon. With that, as once again, thank you very much, Rina. Thank you so much, Stanley, for your time, and to make you guys work on use your brain juice on a public holiday. With that, yeah.
Before we end, I would like to wish Arthur Tan happy birthday. It's his official birthday today. Okay, so we can send him many virtual kisses, all right, or presents, all right? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Stay safe, stay sane, and stay indoor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Cheers.